What's good, my little community? Welcome back to another lovely, beautiful, sexy, amazing video with the equally lovely, equally beautiful, equally sexy, and equally amazing lit title. You already know what time it is. Now let's go. Now guys, I'm back with another album review, and today we're looking at the one and only Mr. Mozart himself. I now know that's his block, Fredo. As today he dropped his second project of the year called Independence Day. A 14-track ensemble, 42 minutes long, and I won't lie, it is sounding very good. And we're going to break this album down in more detail, but you already know what you got to do. You just got to like, comment, subscribe to me up to date if you don't drop a banger like this one. And hit that notey, because you ain't a nitty, so you can be the first to know when one of these videos comes out. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, as you know, Fredo has already dropped a project this year called Money Can't Buy Happiness. Go check out my review on this channel of that album if you haven't heard it already. And this project seems to be an essential follow-up to that. And as I mentioned, this album is pretty good. It does have some flaws here and there that I'm going to break down later. But in terms of what's actually good about it, I think that it's very evident that the production on this album is top notch, and I'm pretty sure once Fredo saw the way that Dave produces in the studio, he knew that the production on his next project needed to match what the bar that Dave had already set for him. This album really strips Fredo back, and really takes him back to his gritty road roots. There's no commercialism in this album whatsoever. There's no song that's attempting to be a radio single or a tune for the girls to love and they can put on their Snapchat with all these filters. This is just straight up UK gangster rap. If another hood mate had a soundtrack, this would be it. I'm not gonna lie. $100,000 for the cheapest ring on the nigga finger, little bitch. And it really depends on how you view Fredo as an artist as to whether that makes this album better or worse. Me personally, I do think that when he is in this element is where he flourishes the most. You know, the times where he tries to sing are really, hit and miss. I'm not gonna lie, he's no Chris Brown when it comes to the singing, I'll tell you that much. But I do like it when he tries to sing. I'm not gonna knock him. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. I don't ever want him to try and do a little falsetto or a riff or something like that, but sprinkling it here and there like Salt Bae, there's no harm in that. In terms of the actual tracks themselves, obviously, I really like the Independence Day song, the first song of the album. The intro was sounding very cold. As soon as I heard this, I thought, yep, this album is going to be filled with bangers. The beat was slapping. And I liked when Fredo said, he knows if he goes broke, that bitches ain't fucking with him no more. I don't think that's true. I'm glad he's aware of it, at least. The 14 tune with Pot of Paper. Pot of Paper had a good verse on that song. I just thought the song was kind of boring, if I'm honest. The production was great, but it just didn't have me invested. The Mind song with Clavish, I thought that song was hard, very hard. Clavish went in, he was floating on that beat. This guy was talking about stabbing and that his boy died and his dad was trying to call the police, but he'd rather go and get the guy. Clavish is on smoke, Not saying I condone the smoke, but he's on smoke, I'll say that much. Of course, we had Talk of the Town on there as well, which was Fredo's first single that he dropped as a prelude to this album. And I do like this song. I really think this song goes hard. It's just Fredo in his prime. He's talking his shit. He's got that typical Fredo flow. I can't really complain about this song. I will say that the next two songs after this did sound a bit like Talk of the Town. And all of those three songs really just sounded very similar, like Bad Boy and My Mother's Life. They all it basically sounded like I was listening to the same song 3 times, if I'm being honest. And that's where I just started to think that, is this an album or is this just a bunch of Fredo songs that he had in the vault and he just put them together? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But they were just sounding very similar. And if you're crafting an album, you kind of want to make distinct records, if that makes sense. There was the Wandsworth to Bullingdon song, another one that we've heard before. I think this was the second single for the album, and it was a collab between Fredo and Heady One. It sounds like a hard song, but I did expect more from a Heady One and Fredo collab. Maybe that's just me, but I was expecting a club banger or something that would send the streets into absolute flames. And this, I just don't think that it has that send the streets into flames potential. It's a hard song, but it's like with the Dave and Stormzy collab. It's a good song, but I just expected way more from both of them. Of course, we had Double Tap as well with Sus, and this tune was absolutely slapping. I don't know who Sus is, but he was sounding sus. Actually, no, that don't work. What was you thinking? Sus was sounding hard, is what I meant to say. The Sus thing, it sounded way better in my head. Ignore me. Sus is sounding hard. I like the background beat on this song as well. It was sounding very, like, almost grimish, you know? It had like an old school type of feel to it, which I was really messing with. Especially with that ghetto sample in the background going... That's not the way you sing that song, man. That was probably an awful rendition of it, but you know what I'm talking about. I also like the Don't Cry song as well. I felt like it was coming in with some very jazzy type of vibes, especially with that opening intro. And Fredo even slightly went into the half singing vibes. He was on a frizzy Fredo type of vibes. And as I said, I like the beat on this, and that's what I'm saying. The production for Fredo has come a long, long way, and I love to see it. I would say that one of the main downfalls of this project is that it doesn't necessarily have a lot of cohesion. You know, it doesn't sound like it was an album that was thoroughly calculated, if that makes sense. It sounds more like, as I said, a bunch of hard tunes that Fredo made, and he had them in the vault in the studio, and he kind of put them together and collated it into one project, which is good. Don't get me wrong. If you got a hella good songs and you slap them on the album, ain't nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to me returning to listen to the album in its entirety, it makes that less likely for that to be the case, because it's not really a journey. It's just more like a playlist. I do also want to point out that for pretty much this whole album, he really just used the same flow, the same typical Fredo flow. And because he wasn't really experimenting that much with any of the songs that he made on this project, it made that fact even more apparent. Like, don't get me wrong, with Money Can't Buy Happiness, he was kind of using that similar flow as well, but he had songs like Ready or Not and Burner on Deck and Do You Right, things that really pushed the paradigm of how you view Fredo as an artist, so it made it less apparent. But here it's just gone right back to his roots, as I said, and I think in some areas it works, but there was, as I said, that specific part of the album where it felt like I heard the same song 3 times over, and I believe that's mainly due to it being the same flow, and that is quite troublesome for an album, I must say. But overall, I think this is a very good effort from Fredo. If I had to rate it out of 10, I'm going to give it a 7.5. As I said, it's got some good songs. They're all good songs, but some of them just sound quite similar, which is a kind of a downfall in my opinion. But let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. Do you think that this is the best Fredo album you've ever heard and it's album of the year? Or do you think that this is whack? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We're on the road to 600 subs. You already know what time it is. You can follow me on my personal IG at TheOnlyLitEnt. If you care about what I do, I'm not making these bangers for you. I post updates on Twitter as well, so you might as well follow me on there, because what else are you doing with your life? Absolutely nothing, mate. Stay black. And if you're not black, stay whatever race you are. I bet. Peace. Oh, you ain't know I can sing?